What's up, and welcome to Mouse Ears and Magic, episode number 61. I'm James. Oh, Brian, I thought you might go ahead and pick that up there. I thought you might.
What's up, everybody? I'm Brian.
I was waiting for you to go, hey, y'all.
Nope.
Hey, y'all, it's Garth.
and then we've got our special guest today, Garth, joining in from Arizona, which I learned something new today, that time doesn't change in Arizona. So it's always fun to learn new things, right? But
yeah,
then it's like, you feel kind of stupid because I'm 32 years old. I should probably know that, but So, gentlemen, how's everything going? Garth, we'll start with you.
It's going good. Just got off work a little bit ago and trying to put a cozy truck together right now, and hanging out with you guys. So
got a birthday tomorrow, huh? Well, not you. Right. I mean, obviously, you're not getting a cozy truck. That might be a little bit of an issue if you are, but
right. I mean, gas prices are so cheap. I think I'm going to stick to the gas instead of going that route. But yeah,
right.
That's a good point. We're not Flintstoning it just yet.
That's it, man.
Brian, what's new up in Tennessee, man?
Nothing, man. Had a couple weeks off from the podcast. Missed you guys.
A couple?
Yeah. Well,
you've been gone like a month, dude.
It's been about a month. I got put in timeout. Don't lie. Don't just go on to tell everybody.
You didn't get put in timeout. You just had a lot going on. I mean,
yeah.
You had that benefit fishing tournament that was it 3 weeks ago, and then you had your birthday, and then you had Jeannie's birthday and anniversary. So, so your birthday was
the
2
15th.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then Jeannie's was the next weekend. Now Garth's youngest is turning 1 tomorrow. Right. And then on the 10th, Phoenix turns 4. So it's like, we got a whole lineup of birthdays going, don't we?
Yep.
So, and Brian, I kind of told you about this. And he just joined into the chat. Josh, who we all know as Chicago Mike, he just, because we work together, right? We're driving these long miles at night. And he started doing this voice, and it was Brian. I just drew a blank on his name again.
Robin Leach.
Yes, Robin Leach from Lifestyles of Rich and Famous, right? And he was doing this voice, and he was actually going to add on like an intro for this of him, doing it, because it was great. And unfortunately, I just got the audio from him, I just saw it about 30 minutes ago, and I was like, crap, I don't have time for it. But it would have been. We're going to have to get it in on the next one.
I tell you what, Josh is he's got his crap together, man. When you had him on the show, he was really good, and he always does a good job on the show as far as commenting and stuff like that. He's got a different outlook than some people do. So
right, and it's interesting because he's not a Disney guy.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
So it's really interesting, but he puts up with all my Disney talk on them long nights, and gives a lot of good feedback and all. So Lisa from Custom Boutique by Lisa, she asked, why do we call Josh Chicago Mike? It's a fair question. So basically, he just moved down here in March, and me and another guy that we work with, we talked to him on the phone a couple of times, but we could never remember his name at all. All we could remember was he was from Chicago, right? So then you've got, that, was it like a sub shop, a sandwich shop that's Jersey Mike's, right?
Yeah.
So we replace Jersey with Chicago. It's Chicago Mike. He responds to it. So,
that's all
it just
matters.
stuck. Yeah, exactly. I'm slowly getting to where I actually call him by Josh. Sometimes I'll, get excited, be like, Mike, but, can't be perfect, right?
That's it.
All right. So we are doing today self-respecting men who love Disney. The backstory to this is my favorite part, right? because after we'd gotten back from our Disney trip and all, Josh just said, "I've got mouse ears coming out of my ears." So, yeah, it's so after we got back from our Disney trip, Sarah's mom asked her, "What kind of self-respecting man loves Disney?" Because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, she's not the biggest fan of me, right? And that's okay. But you've got something that Josh has really drilled into me over these last few months is because it almost got annoying how he would always pull out a silver lining of everything. It's like, oh, I just blew a tire on the trailer, but at least I kind of get to regroup, and and it's like, dude, just stop, right? But no, I've slowly been doing that, and I pulled a silver lining out, and now we have self-respecting men who love Disney, right?
That's it.
So, and because it is a thing. I mean, I'm sure you guys hear about it, right? From your buddies, guys you work with, and all. Like, dude, Disney, like,
yeah,
it's for girls, right?
Right.
But it's truly not. I mean, it's really for all of us.
Yep.
So let's start with Garth. Obviously, you're a guest, right? So what is it really about Disney? Like, if you could pick one thing that just really keeps bringing you back, keeps you, I mean, you became a travel agent, right? I mean, you're with Magic and Mickey, and we specialize in Disney destinations. So what is it that that draws you into Disney, that made you want to take that extra step to help others?
Well, we it wasn't until we got off of the cruise. We went on the Wonder in October of 2018, and I was looking for a vacation that we could take everybody to go to, right? Like because we had all kinds of age groups. We had my son, who was 2 at the time, my wife, her aunt, her friends, my parents, which are quite a bit older, and so we were looking for something where everybody could do everything. But then, of course, when you go to the parks, trying to get in line with 15 people is a horrible decision. So, you know what I mean? So it was like, can we do something where everybody can do something, you know what I mean? And then regroup at night for dinner, right? So we were kind of figuring it out. I was like, well, why don't we do a Disney cruise? And I hadn't done anything. We hadn't been on a cruise before, so it was just like everything up to this point, it was just like, Disney can't strike out. You know what I mean? Like, they're just full cover. They got the vacation game on lockdown, right? They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah. And to me, it's all about details. I've been in the building maintenance, doing building things, building maintenance for 15 years now. And just to see, when you walk by and you see like a sprinkler scutcheon, but it's like camouflage to something themed for the park. Yeah. You don't even pay attention to things like that. Where, I walk in, I'm like, oh man, there's a fire system, there's an electrical panel, there's this, and nobody else even notices it. So it's like details. You can have just as much fun on the ride as you can just looking at all the stuff. You know what I mean? Right. So.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it's like, on a lot of rides, they blend the doors for like emergency exits and so on with, grass and everything. Whatever color the grass is in that area is the color of the door and the wall. And it's amazing because, you don't really pick up on it. So it doesn't take away from the theming unless you're really looking for it. And I mean, like that's what you do all day, right? So, you see it a little more, but you still have that appreciation of the fact that Disney is hiding it. They are trying to keep it as themed as possible.
Right.
And, it's just a curse that you have that you can't help but to see it, right?
Yeah. I actually got a funny one for you guys. And this will strike at you, James, right here. So the first and last time I ever rode, It's a Small World. Uh-oh. And I'm in the boat and we're cruising through the different, sections. And I leaned back and I went like this. It's like, good gosh. And I just happened to notice, if you look up and It's a Small World, there's an acoustical ceiling up there. And I was like, there is no way. Why in the world would they put ceiling tiles in? But
not to torture the rest of the people.
Yeah. So Lisa made a good comment here. She says that now DCL has ruined you from all other cruise lines because they can't measure up. So you talked about the cruise lines. I haven't been on a Disney cruise. Brian, I can't remember if you have.
No, we were supposed to go right when the pandemic
COVID,
all that stuff hit.
So what is it really about the cruise lines, Garth, that just for you sets it apart from anything else?
Well, I mean, it really is like 3 vacations in one, right? You got kind of like an international travel where you get to go to different places all the time, every day, kind of in a different place. You got to feel, and especially Disney, you get to feel that it's all inclusive. Because I mean, there's not like a soda package unless, of course, you need to get some adult beverages or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, everything's pretty much included. And then there's being on the water and traveling, and then it's almost like it's not that you're subject to whatever they're doing, it's just you're in no rush to get anything done. Plus, unless you're silly and you decide you want to buy a data package, which I don't recommend anybody do if you go on a cruise, you're not on your phone, you're not you know what I mean, you're totally disconnected, and everybody that's with your party are not to sound rude or anything, but that that's the point, right? Is to reconnect with everybody that you haven't been around. You know what I mean? So that's why I think cruising is just one of the best vacations that you can book. You know what I mean? And plus, it makes it easier. Like I said, if you have a large group and someone has knee issues or mobility issues or whatnot, it really makes it a ideal plan for everybody to still get together.
Yeah. Garth, what's your favorite Disney cruise liner?
Well, we've only done the Wonder. I've been trying to get on the Fantasy, I think 4 times this year. So every time it ends up washing out for me. But next August we'll be going on the Fantasy. So
were you gonna be on the 10-year anniversary? Yeah. Was you? Okay, cool. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have.
That was the one that we had booked. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all set up for 2 days at Castaway Key. It looks pretty awesome, and I know how that went.
Right.
Yeah.
So Elle asked here, is DCL really that good? It's so expensive, so she wasn't sure. But and that's a very fair question. I mean, it is more expensive than other cruises, right?
Well, but there's other. Yeah, I mean, it is expensive, right?
Right.
And Disney, of course, has the market because they have 4 ships, and so they don't have an issue where, let's say, Carnival or Royal Caribbean, where they got 50 boats out there,
right?
So they have a bunch of vacancies. Disney's got 4 ships, so they don't have a problem filling in positions. Right. You know what I mean? So, and then another thing is they don't have like drink passes, so they're not making astronomical amounts of money on their alcohol. I mean, they do charge a fair amount, don't get me wrong, but,
right?
But then also there's not any casinos, which is a big thing for me because I just don't. You could give me all the money in the world, I would never understand gambling. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're not recouping any money off of that. So
I feel you there. I've never gambled a day in my life. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Because I mean, the other company, I'm not trying to downplay any of the other companies or anything like that, but if you truly are a family thing, you would want the whole ship to be kind of general for everyone.
Right. Right.
So yeah, you don't want to have like a no-fly zone for your kids, So
yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And Lisa agrees here. She says, "I like the no casino on the ship. It's a huge money maker for the cruises." Disney does also have the Broadway shows.
Yes.
On their ships.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another really good point.
And Mickey bars are free. Like I said, soft drinks are free. They got like all day pizza. Like they have their like buffet area. And then you have your general meal, and then out there on the the deck, they have their food and like pizza and sandwiches and things like that. Some of them do charge, but most of them don't. So
Right. It's it is very interesting, all the differences, but Disney seems to kind of top everybody. I mean, you hear the stories that other cruise ships will follow Disney cruise ships because
right.
Disney does the fireworks and all off the ship, whereas other cruises don't really do that. So yeah, it's Disney always just. I think that's probably the biggest thing for all three of us, right? Is that Disney just they seem to always set the bar a little higher than everybody else. And then when somebody else tries to catch up, like Universal, right? They did the Harry Potter land and all. So Disney's like, okay, y'all have that. We're going to step it up even more. So, it makes it where it's a great competition, makes, great stuff for us, right?
Right.
Where Disney and Universal is always trying to one up each other. But, what is, Brian, what is it for you, man, that really sets Disney apart?
It's just what you just said. We don't take many vacations, or we haven't taken many vacations through our, since we've been a family unit. So, we've gone to the beach and stuff like that. And my wife had taught me or tried to talk me into doing a Disney trip for years and years and years. But, I never could justify the cost of it. I always knew, it was just really expensive, really expensive. That's all I could think about.
Right.
And then we went and, most of it's the atmosphere, just being in the parks. You're in another world, you're not in reality.
Right.
For me, that is, to be able to detach from reality is where I get my relaxation from. So, and Disney is the best at it, so that's what I love about it.
Yeah, yeah, Disney is the best, really. And, for everybody that always says, it's just princesses and everything. I mean, we did, Brian, like we did that, the Manly show, right? The Manly things at Disney.
Yeah.
One of the big things are the thrill rides, right? There's not a ton, especially if you look at Magic Kingdom, right? I mean, there's not a ton of thrill rides. There's probably the biggest thrill ride there is the worst ride on property. So, but you look at Hollywood Studios. You look at Hollywood Studios and you've got, Rock and Roller Coaster, Slinky Dog, which is actually our background today. You've got really, Smuggler's Run is a thrill. Garth, have you been able to do Galaxy's Edge yet?
I have not.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I got a confession. I've only been to Disney World once because we live so close to California.
Right.
California, So, but my son, he the bait to get him to get out of diapers was to go to Disneyland, right? And so we get out of diapers, we'll go. So February we were all set up. End of February, things came up, couldn't go. We're gonna make it for March 21st. Yeah, bummer. Like I wish I would. Yeah, and the whole thing is, we have a motorhome now, and there's a RV park right down the road from there. So it's like I want to say it's like less than a mile. It's almost a mile, and so this is like if that's reasonable, like if it's a reasonable distance to get there, that'll make us annual pass holders. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a 5-hour trip. So yeah, still waiting. Yeah. So
yeah.
But I'm so irritated with. I'm not going to get political, but I'm so irritated with California. I'm just about to say, forget it.
So. Let's be real honest. This is California is just irritating all of us.
Yeah.
Even for us over here, in the Southeast, it doesn't directly affect us, right? We're nowhere near it. We're not going there. Don't have any plans to go there in the near future or anything. Disney is kind of using California as their crutch to, cut things back elsewhere,
Right.
So I would love to, I would love for, California just to say, okay, look, let's get Disneyland open. Let's start it out just like Walt Disney World,
Right.
And I think that's one part. A lot of people are confused. They say, well, Florida has gone back. Florida's came out and said theme parks can do what they want now, right?
Right.
We're in that phase. You can do what you want, and I think that Disney is trying to play it safe still, proving to California we want to do the right thing. We want to, this is how things are working for us at Disney. This is, it's working. We're not having numbers. We're not having any kind of issues. People aren't getting sick. And they just have to kind of stick to their guns right now to prove to California that our system works.
Right.
So I knew real quick, I got to do this. I knew that my comment would get the chat going. Right. So Josh, Chicago Mike says, what about Space Mountain? Well, Brian said it best in the chat. He's chatting with people in live here. He said, I'm talking crap about Space Mountain. I'm not talking crap, right? Space Mountain is far from my favorite ride. What I said was probably the biggest thrill ride at Magic Kingdom is the worst ride on property.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
something ain't right with you.
And Brian also commented here. He says, we all know SM is the best. You left out the ALL world.
Yeah, well, whatever.
So let's go ahead and talk about that, Garth. What is your favorite ride, whether it be Disney? Well, let's go with Disney World. You've been there once. One time you've been there. What is your favorite ride?
Well, I have a special Space Mountain has a very special place in my heart. So that's why.
Oh, we lost Garth for a second. What happened?
What happened? Where you go? Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Huh? Almost like
he did that on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. Man. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
That was all me. You said space.
Anyway,
special thing for Space Mountain. So yeah. But no, go ahead, man.
But yeah, the Space Mountain has a special, meaning to me. So Space Mountain to me is just, I love it. Probably Thunder Mountain Railroad would be my second favorite. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But I totally get it. It is rough at Disney World. It's a lot rougher than it is at Disneyland.
Yeah.
But until you've ridden the Matterhorn, let's not talk about rough rides, because that thing is a ruptured disc, like 6 or 7 of them. Like
really?
It's brutal.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I would love. Obviously, I've got to make it out to Disneyland one day. But Elle says I was super excited about Space winning the favorite ride at Magic Kingdom. That was not true. Don't get confused, people. But yeah, it's I got to make it out to Disneyland because they, like you said, they have the Matterhorn. Haven't done it. Space Mountain's a different experience out there. Pretty much all of the rides, right? I mean, if you compare Disney World to Disneyland, all of them have these different quirks.
Well, what's funny is that I think the Rock and Roller Coaster is the same as California Screamin', which is now the Incredicoaster. I think it's the same ride. It's only indoors.
Really?
California, yeah, the Incredicoaster is outside, obviously, and then, but I'm pretty sure it's the same exact ride. It's just a different, it's inside
ride vehicle.
Yeah. So,
yes. So that's
and that's probably one of my favorite too.
So is it? That's interesting. I haven't actually heard that comparison. So with the Incredicoaster, so you have that initial major blast off.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah. Same launch sequence. Same.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Except it's not a dark ride.
Yeah, it's not a dark ride. It's not Aerosmith. Yeah. At least it was when I went on it. So.
Yeah. To me, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that kind of makes the Rock and Roller Coaster, right? Is the fact that it is a dark ride. You've got all these neon lights everywhere, and then I mean, you've got the music blaring right in your ear. Right. I mean, does it get any manlier than that? I mean, flying through town, top down, music blaring. Come on.
Yeah, no matter how many times I've tried to get a POV of that, and it just doesn't work. Yeah. Most every time, you can't get past the people in front and behind you saying profanities as you're going upside down and stuff.
Yeah.
If you can get past that initial launch, then the rest of it's not. I mean, it's a piece of cake, right?
It's a fantastic ride.
Yeah. Right. That initial launch where I know there's people that are scared to ride it, right? We're not going to name any names, but let's provide a little reassurance for those people.
Bailey.
Okay. Brian, why you got to call your daughter out like that? But let's provide a little reassurance for them. I mean, because realistically, when you're getting on Rock and Roller Coaster, just keep your head back. Yeah. Get your pose ready, right? Because right at the launch, that's when you get hit with the flashes. That's when they take the picture, So, obviously you got to do the rock on symbol. So you don't want to get caught like Sarah, where she's like, she couldn't get that other finger. She couldn't get her pointer finger up. She was just all pinkies here, So that was funny because, I mean, that G-force, man, it hits you hard and you're not moving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an instant launch. So, yeah, definitely get your head back, but not only back, but straight ahead, because it'll rip your sideways, so.
Yeah, you don't want to be trying to look to the side and then start and, because I'll be honest, man, when me and Sarah got in line for it and we saw that first initial launch, we were like, ooh. What we don't belong here. What are we doing? So yeah, but and I guess the same would go for the Incredicoaster. So
yeah,
so those rides compare. I know from what I've seen and read, queues are a lot different from Disneyland compared to Disney World. The queues seem to be a little more themed and interactive at times than at Disney World than they are at Disneyland, right?
Right. When we first went to Disney World, we were just totally blown away with the way the queues are, because it's like you're in a line, then you get put into a room, then you're in a whole nother different line, then you go into another room, then you get to the ride. Where at Disneyland, it's just lines all day long, except for, I think, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Haunted Mansion. That one's pretty much the same as Disney World. I'm trying to think of, I think that's the only ones where you go and you get shoved in a room and then you get, exit out another door and then put it onto your ride, so.
Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy queue is pretty interactive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're essentially going in Tower of Terror, correct?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And you know what? Then I had my reservations about that when they changed it, and I honestly can't wait till they update Splash Mountain.
I'm excited about that,
because when I first saw Princess Frog, I'm like, it's too bad they have Splash Mountain already, because this would be perfect. This would be a perfect ride for it, and then somehow Disney took my idea and they're like, hey, let's update Splash Mountain. So.
That's something that you see a lot, especially if you listen to podcasts or anything like that. You'll hear these hosts talking about these different ideas, right? And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, Disney's making an announcement, hey, we're going to do this. And it's like, where have I heard that before?
Right.
So yeah, Disney somehow has a way. I think if we have anything Disney on our phone, if we ever talk Disney, it's kind of like how Google and all kind of, reads into what we're saying and everything, right? I think Disney's in on that, so they're sitting there listening to us like, man, Disney should, and then it just clicks on and they're recording it all of a sudden. That's definitely not. That is not a fact at all. So don't believe that. That is completely a joke. Just to say that,
but it could be fact.
I mean, it's not that far of a stretch, right?
No, it's not at all.
So. What is your favorite ride? You said Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom, right? What about because obviously I'm sure you did Animal Kingdom and everything. Mm-hmm. Do you have any favorite rides that really stuck out at the other parks as well?
Oh, Everest, of course.
Obviously.
That's an awesome ride. I really like the show. Toy Story hadn't been built yet either when we went, so I haven't been on any of that yet. But the Indiana Jones sequence was pretty awesome at the studio, and then the man, I'm trying to think what it is. It's the space simulator at Epcot.
Mission Space.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, escaped my brain there for a second, but yeah. Me and my wife get on there and we're like, barf bags. You don't need those.
So you did the orange one then. You did the orange side then. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Careful what you wish for,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So yeah, and then Hollywood Studios. Do y'all have Star Tours at Disneyland?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
So is it basically the same thing, right?
Yours is, I don't think it was open when we went. I think it was down.
Oh, okay.
But it's because it's Disney World, so you can either wait in line for something that might work or you just keep moving, right? So
right.
So we kind of skipped that one, and but is that one pretty much a simulator?
Yes.
Yeah. Then it's the same.
Yeah. And I love the update that they did to it. So when we went in December, it's completely different now from what it was in December. Because when we went in September, it had scenes from Rise of Skywalker and all on there.
Gotcha.
So a little change up, keeping it current. I really love that. But a lot of people just hate Star Tours, and I don't get it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes I don't want to beat up on Universal, but that's what I don't like about Universal, because it's all it's all 3D glasses and TV screens, right? So but it is kind of nice to have just a small break, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And usually the lines aren't terrible for it, you know what I mean? So it's like, let's just go hang out for a little bit,
Yeah.
And of course getting into it's all themed and everything, so it's pretty cool to see all that.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah, I love that ride. We all enjoy that ride.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most underrated rides.
I think so.
On property. Another one that I know neither one of y'all have done is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
No,
man, you talk about incredible theming. I was talking with Chase. He's a guy that I've met through YouTube and the Disney Tube stuff, right? He has a channel called Chasing Florida, and we was talking the other day that he was asking me if I had been able to keep up with Pluto, because I think we rode it like 4 or 5 times while we were down. And what a lot of people don't know is Pluto is actually running through in every room. And I got to say this, you have to watch the Mickey shorts over in the theater, right? Before doing the ride, because it kind of gives you a little more backstory of the ride, because you see Pluto running through with the picnic basket, because Mickey and Minnie's lost their picnic basket and all, and trying to keep up with Pluto in every room. It's hard to find him at times, but then all the hidden Mickeys, there's so many hidden things in that ride, and it's so incredibly. It might be one of the most re-rideable attractions at Disney.
Gotcha.
As far as
I like it when they do that, you know what I mean? Where they each one, because they'll do that where it's all different each time, So,
right.
Because I know Guardians of the Galaxy is the same way. I don't think I've ridden it ever and had the same ending song in it.
Right.
Because each time it's just a little bit, like tweak it here or there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and just a heads up, if you're trying to watch on
Uh-oh. James silenced himself.
Maybe he got sent out to Space Mountain too.
You know what it is too. That's karma right there.
You're
because
right.
he gives Space Mountain such a hard time.
I have no idea what our power just flashed.
Uh-oh.
So that's what happened is my internet cut out there for. Wow. Man, y'all are killing me in the chat and everything. And I don't even know what y'all said. I know y'all were laughing and said karma, so that's not cool. I don't know what just happened. But
you'll have to go back and watch.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh wow. So L says when I left, oh good, a better view.
Oh dang!
Wow, brutal. And then
Hey.
Josh says he gone. He gone. So yeah, but yeah, I don't. Our power flashed. I don't know, weird things, But because I know a lot of people in our area still don't have power, right?
Oh, wow.
From the tropical storm, they've got it. They've got them, according to Alabama Power, supposed to have it back no later than Wednesday. So yeah, it'd be a full week without power for some people. We didn't actually lose it, but we have been getting those flashes every now and then.
Gotcha.
So weird things. So I don't know what we were talking about. So y'all go ahead with whatever you were talking about, and then I'll join in a minute.
Well, no, we're good, man. We're just talking about Space Mountain a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, no, go ahead. I mean, we can talk about that on the show. So, both of y'all love that ride. So,
we're just busting on you. That's all. That's all. It's all good, though.
All right. So, what else what else do y'all want to talk about? I mean, we don't need to talk about anything specific, right? I mean, we've talked about some of our favorite rides. What about food? How does Disneyland compare to Disney World when it comes to food?
It's not even the same thing. It really
isn't.
Yeah, Disney World is incredible, especially Epcot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Where you have pretty much authentic food. You know what I mean. Walking through there and have whatever you want. The only thing I want to say, I want to warn people that somebody hasn't done this before. Just commit to the turkey leg. If you're going to go for it, just commit to it, because you're not riding anything, because you're going to have a soda in one hand and a greasy meat bone in the other.
Right.
So you're going to have you got to just sit down and eat it, because you're going to get in the ride. There's going to be like dust on it and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you just
yeah.
Yeah, it's just not. I got duped once, and I was like, man, this is just really taking up way too much time. Like,
yeah, the turkey leg can take a while. I mean, it's huge, right? And we talked about that in the manly things to do at Disney was, I mean, you just walk around just like the good old days, right? Just eating the meat off the bone, this big old hunk of meat, it doesn't get much manlier than that, but no, it does take up some time. So,
that's how I feel about Casey's Corner.
So yeah, Josh,
you might as well just sit down somewhere. Yeah, you have to.
Right.
Josh in the chat is talking about things that we talked about with that little that thing he was going to do at the beginning of the show. That I'd gotten kind of late. So that for those of you that are looking at Josh's comments, like, what is this crazy dude doing? Like, he's making no sense. But yeah, what about sit down places and all though, like table service restaurants and everything at Disneyland? I mean, because you don't hear about, and maybe it's because I'm not in the Disneyland circle, right? I mean, it's more Disney World for us. So maybe it's because I'm not in that circle, but we don't really hear about. I mean, you hear about the churros, and obviously the Mickey bars, all that stuff, right? But as far as table service, everybody talks about all the food at Disney World. I mean, there's a Disney food, Disney food blog. There's channels dedicated to the food.
Right.
What about Disneyland?
Yeah, well, they do have. There are a couple, but you have to make reservations for it, and that's one thing that you kind of get used to when you go to Disney World. Is that, I mean, you pretty much, you're going to be at a park a day, pretty much. You got to figure that in, right? But if you have a park hopper, and let's say you have a ride like, let's say Toy Story that's over in California Adventure, and then you have like Indiana Jones.
Mm.
These are two rides that are delicate, okay, and you can very much go back 2 or 3 times. And so, making a reservation, it's not so much like it's almost more like a burden. Like you always have, when you're on vacation, you don't want to have a schedule, right?
Right.
You just go and have a good time. So I haven't actually eaten at those restaurants. I usually hit up downtown Disney if I'm going to eat somewhere. There's the House of Blues there. There's just pretty much everything there. Of course, you've got your ice cream shop that's on Main Street, and that's a must do. But as far as it's usually just what you guys would have is quick dining. You know what I mean? That's
right.
Usually what we hit up. Bear Country's got a pretty good barbecue station down there, but as far as, like I said, sit down, it's there's 2 parks. They're relatively easy to navigate. So it's, do you want to be contained, or would you rather be floating around the parks, doing whatever? So
right.
You gotta kind of choose your battle there. So
right, it makes sense. Because in Disney World, you see people. You said Disneyland's a little easier to navigate, and you go to Disney World and everybody's got a map or got the MDE app pulled up on their phone trying to find out how do we get to here and how do we get there, and
right.
but I know for us, probably Brian as well, we just go to where even though we don't go that often, right? We try to go once a year, right? But it's we remember where everything is because it really is. It's a lot more easier to navigate as long as you have your eyes up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
exactly.
That's a key thing. Got to have them eyes up. That's just life in general. You can navigate life a lot easier if you have your eyes up.
Right.
Well, see, I'm not like if you're talking about the food, like the table service, having to make reservations and stuff like that. Generally, like our first day at Disney, we fly in, we take the Magical Express in to our resort, and then that's usually the day we go to Disney Springs.
Right.
And then we generally will make us a reservation that day, and that's the only reservation we make. Everything else is going to be snacks and quick service. So. And that's just me, though. I know, James, you like the Disney dining plan, and you like to be able to go and sit down somewhere. But for me, I enjoy the quick services just as much as I do the table service meals. So
yeah, a lot of the quick service meals can somewhat compare to the table service,
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, there's nothing like. Sometimes there's just nothing better to go sit down in Liberty Tree, kind of kick back a little bit, nice air conditioning, but it's, with the dining plan, dude, you eat for days.
Yeah.
And then you bring Disney back with you because you're going to have so many snack credits. Go over to Disney Springs, hit up Goofy's Candy Shop,
Well, that's the thing that always just interested me was, I've had this discussion with several people. They've gotten the they choose not to use the dining plan, and I'm like, why? It doesn't make any sense if you're not going to do. Even if you did the Disney dining plan, you get a table service, a quick service,
and 2 snacks.
That is a lot of food. If you know how to do it, that is a ton of food.
Oh yeah,
it is a ton.
That's what me and my wife did when we went there on our honeymoon, and that's exactly what we did. We were like, I don't want to get the dining the main dining plan where it's like 3 meals because you're getting was it 4 courses each meal, and it's like
ridiculous, man.
Every time you're just like, oh man, I'm not even gonna make it out of the restaurant,
right?
And so and then of course if you need to buy a soda or whatever, you just buy a soda, but man, yeah, that was more than enough. I remember there was a guy there. He had bought the premier dining plan, and he was like, "Well, all we've been doing this whole time is eating."
Yeah. Yeah, that deluxe dining plan, man, I mean, for me, it's just way too much food. Unless you're going just to eat.
Right.
You're not wanting to do rides. You're not, because, I mean, you're not going to be able to eat, all that food and do rides as well. I don't think, anyways. I mean, I don't want to be sick, right? So I'm like, give me the Disney dining plan. Like we said, it's the table service, quick service, and 2 snacks. Because a lot of days, what we'll do is we won't do a table service one day because, I mean, you can use a snack credit for a meal, a little small meal, right? Enough to buy you over. And then we'll save that table service, and then we'll go do a signature dining, where you have to have 2 table service credits.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's ways to really go around it. But I really missed the dining plan this last trip.
Yeah, that's been because we've been thinking about going, and I'm like, if they don't have the dining plan, it's, I mean, of course, it's much cheaper to go without it, but you're without having the dining.
Is it though?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it though? Because that's one of the things that's keeping us from going is the dining plan. It's like, well, if we can't experience everything that we want to experience, then we're not going.
Right.
And I know that's weird to say considering I'm in the travel industry, but I mean, we like the Disney that we first got to experience.
Right.
That's what we want to experience every time we go.
Right.
So, we don't mind paying for the food, but it's just so much easier with the dining plan. So,
yeah, I totally agree.
And, Garth, though, kind of just to encourage you a little bit to go without the dining plan is if you drove your RV down, right, your camper, I mean, you pop out a grill there on campsite, dude. I mean, you could eat good still for, not a bad price. I mean, because Florida doesn't have grocery taxes, so, you save a little there too, right? So,
right. No, and that's been the one thing is to take, a week off or travel, to get down there and then to stay down there. But that's definitely probably I'll be 40 in 2022, so that's my secret 40th birthday. Nice birthday present for myself. So
it's not a secret anymore. But man, you just ruined your own surprise. Dang.
I know, right? So,
but
how far of a drive is that to Walt Disney World from Phoenix?
Well, by car, it's like I want to say it's like a 27-hour trip. But when you're driving a motorhome, your top speed is about 65, so it's probably closer to like 32.
I got
you. Get that sucker cranked up, man. What are you doing?
Dude, I got to put on some torsion bars on that thing. It's an Econoline, so it's that thing is sloppy all over the place.
Look, so me and Mike, the company we work for, our trucks are governed to 65. It's brutal, right? And we'll have these big RVs, come flying by us. I had one pass me the other day, and on a lot of newer trucks now, we have this system on the front bumper where it has like a radar in it. So we can actually see how fast the car in front of us is going, how far we are from them, and if we get, too close, the truck actually will brake itself. So it was interesting though, because I had this RV come by me the other day at 92 miles an hour. I was like, boy, they are getting somewhere in a hurry to relax. That must be nice,
man.
But
yeah, I will say driving at 65 miles an hour is almost relaxing because you're not competing. You know what I mean? You're not jockeying for any travel. You're not getting over. I think we went to Carlsbad Caverns last year, and I think I passed 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Because they had no reason to be on the freeway.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem, man. And y'all drove down to Texas not too long ago, right? Did y'all take the RV?
No, we didn't.
Okay, I was about to say.
We finally got back like 2 weeks ago. So
that probably would have been kind of scary there because I mean, there's speed limit on Interstates 80 in a lot of places.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and that's where we're going to be taking it on Thursday. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, we went to Galveston. And the whole time we were driving through Houston, I'm like, I am so glad we didn't bring the motor home because this is insane. Like,
right. So we obviously haven't talked about this on the podcast because the news just broke. So, but I'm curious at what y'all's thoughts are. And I know, Brian, I just talked to you about it last night. Garth, I don't know if you've heard of the news. You probably have for sure. That Disney actually just laid off all the actors from Festival of Lion King, Finding Nemo, Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
oh man.
Yeah. And this is at Disney World. I mean, that's, for sure. I mean, Finding Nemo, Festival of Lion King, some of the fan favorites. Indiana Jones, some people say it's not that great. I think it's a really awesome show. But I mean, who doesn't like to go watch things blow up and,
Right.
these massive 400-pound boulders come rolling down at somebody. I mean, come on. But it's what are y'all's thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you're going to do that, I wasn't real impressed with the Hollywood studios, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously, it's before Star Wars and all that stuff. So it wasn't like.
Yeah, you went before Star Wars and Toy Story. So
yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot there,
Right.
So I just man, that's rough. That's too bad.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that all day since you said that last night, James. I haven't been keeping up with it.
Right.
The Festival of Lion King is by far my favorite show at Walt Disney World. We have Bailey and we've gone 3 times in the last year. We went 3 times last year, and we watched it 3 times last year.
Right.
We tried to make it in a couple other times, but you know how it is. But I mean, we love that show. I mean, we do. Finding Nemo, that's a really good show too. If that's your thing, I enjoyed it. Especially, I mean, Indiana Jones is pretty awesome. But I mean, that's depressing. It is. It makes you wonder what they're thinking. So,
well, we went to Chicago 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I can't remember, but there were flight attendants on there that there was a pilot. He was like, yeah, my family's waiting outside to get because he's retiring early, because all the layoffs and everything that are going on through the airline industry also, what I mean? So it's just been like, can it be 2021 yet? Get on with it.
right.
Pull the plug on this year, please. So
I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that we don't get to 2021 and we're like, oh man, hindsight's 2020. I mean, just imagine that, dude.
yeah.
But at some point, I mean, obviously, they're going to have to bring Festival of Lion King back. They're going to have to bring Finding Nemo back, right? I hate to say it, a lot of people have said that Indiana Jones needs to go. I hope that they bring it back, though.
I love that show. That's a great show.
Yeah. And but again, I mean, a lot of people, though, are saying they're not going to bring them back. I don't think there's any way that you can get rid of those. I mean, Lion King and Nemo, dude, you gotta have those at Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Animal Kingdom doesn't have that many rides, right? I mean, you've got Everest, you've got Kali River Rapids, you've got the Safari, you've got Flight of Passage, Navi River, and Dinosaur. I'm sorry, guys. Space Mountain is not the worst ride on property. Dinosaur is the worst ride on property.
I love Dinosaur.
Dude, what is wrong with you? How do you love Dinosaur?
It's a fun ride, man.
I wish I was short.
I don't have a ride that I just hated.
Garth, how tall are you?
I am 5'7".
Doggone. That's
See,
like,
we're the same height, Garth.
yeah. Yeah. See, dang, 6'3", and your knees are pinned into the seat in front of you.
That's not our fault, buddy.
Yeah, chop your feet off.
It's fine. I did not read this comment before putting it up, so I probably should have done that. But yeah, and that's true. Honestly, though, survival of self-sufficiency has to be part of our culture once again. 100% true. Dinosaur is the best. LD is sick. I'm sorry. There's no way. What was it? She was saying the other day that there was a ride that, huh?
Sorry, I got a little caught up in the comments there. My bad.
So Elle was saying the other day that some kind of ride made her motion sick, right?
Yeah.
And it was something simple. Teacups, I think, maybe.
Teacups. Yeah.
Was it teacups?
I think so.
And then, but dinosaur is the best? What is wrong with you? Man. Poor Jameson, guys. I'm not kidding. Probably, and we talked about this on our manly show, right? Probably one of the manliest things is getting to see your kid's expression. Like for us, driving through the gate, the front gate there, getting out of the car the first time on property, making that turn onto Main Street to see the L says teacups is obvious. Dinosaur doesn't spin. So
finish the sentence.
She called me a dope. Okay. But I was trying to give, for those listening on the podcast and not watching, I was trying to give them a somewhat not as horrible view of Elle that she's calling me names and all. Come on, Brian. Making that turn onto Main Street to see the castle, because it never fails, no matter how many times you go. I mean, when you see the castle the first time, and that's the look on the kid's face and everything, like all of that, like you've worked your tail off to get that reaction, right?
Right.
And then when you get off a dinosaur, you go to dinosaur, he's so excited, right? He did not like it when he rode it the first time a couple years ago. He's like, I want to try it again. I want to try it again. I love dinosaurs. I want to try it again. I want to try it again. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And we get off the ride, and he has tears rolling down his face, saying, I wanted to like it. I wanted to. That was the most heart-wrenching moment I've ever had at Disney, I think. I mean, that was tough. But, what
I tell you what, man, I just thought of something. You asked what self-respecting man loves,
Yeah.
Garth, do you have like a magical moment, like the most magical moment you've ever had at Disney?
So
do you have anything that stands out?
Yeah. So, okay. I'll tell you about Space Mountain and why I like it. So, are you guys familiar with like the carnival ride, the zipper? It looks like a chainsaw blade, and then you have
yeah. Okay.
And it's got each like bucket spins around, right?
Yeah.
So my cousin took me on that when I was like 8, and I was like a fearless kid, and he's much older than I am, and he had that thing spinning around so fast I was mortified of anything rides, right? I hated rides. So a few years later, my other cousin, we go to Disneyland. And I was like 13 at the time. And she goes, let's go on Space Mountain. And, she tells me it's a roller coaster. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. She's like, it's in the dark. You'll have fun. And so she takes me on Space Mountain. And she's like, it's in the dark. You won't even see it. And so, of course, I'm freaking out. I'm like shaking. Don't want to go. But I went anyway because I didn't want to look like a chump, right? So I go, and it was like the best time. She's like, okay, cool. Let's go over to Big Thunder Mountain. So we went over to Thunder Mountain Railroad. And ever since then, it's like, okay, back to business. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like a few years ago, my wife, her aunt, her parents, and myself, we went to Disneyland. And the way it worked out, I ended up sitting by myself, and there was a kid that was next to me that was like 12 that ended up sitting next to me because his brother was in the car behind me or behind us. And he was just like, I don't know. And it was like they were having the same conversation. Get on, it's in the dark or whatever, you know. I was like, dude, you're going to love this. And so we go on, and the ride stops. I said, you survived? That was awesome, wasn't it? And of course, you know, he was still kind of like tearing up because he was, you know, scared. And I was like, and I told his brother, who was there with obviously his girlfriend, I was like, take him to Thunder Mountain Railroad right now, or get back in this line and do it again. And so I said, I'll take you guys over there myself. And
Right.
so yeah, I made sure to follow him over to Thunder Mountain Railroad and told him to get in line, just so, you know, he could do it. And that to me is why I like Thunder Mountain Railroad so much, or Space Mountain so much, is because, you know, it kind of, that moment, you know, it didn't seem like a big deal when my cousin took me until I saw that kid, you know, freaking out, sit next to me. And I was like, dude, I've been here before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to help you out. So, and then of course, a few years ago, my son, he was just learning how to walk, and Lightning McQueen came pulling out of cars, out of Radiator Springs. There's like a fenced area where the cars pull out and everything. And he came pulling out, and, you know, he was just learning how to talk and everything. And he was saying McQueen. And so it was just cool to see that. Of course, you know, it's been a while since we've been back, and I've got the Joneson. So, but, but yeah,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. It's probably my. That's why I like Space Mountain so much. It's just kind of a special ride to me. So
yeah. Yep.
All right, Brian. So we've heard your most magical moment, waiting in line to see Cinderella and all, right?
Yep.
Are you surprised I remembered that?
No.
Because
you're good. You're good about that stuff.
I don't know if you remember this, but that was back on episode 13.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. That's when I heard that magical memory. So that magical moment. But so what is it that, you know, as far as experiencing with your family, something that happened with your kids, right? Or, you know, Jenny or whatever. Because you talked about what you experienced for, you know, for somebody else and how much that meant to you and all. But what about for your family? Do you have one?
So, you know, Bailey, when we went for the first time, she had just turned 12, and I'm trying to find some pictures right now. So it was that particular time too, because when we walked into down Main, when we walked into Magic Kingdom for the first time, that was our first park day. It's pouring down rain, guys. Yeah, I've told this story multiple times, but it is pouring down rain. We had tornado warnings, everything going, and it was just a kind of a crappy day. But as soon as we walked into the gates and walked up to where you could see the castle, the first thing I always do is look at my kids, you know, and both of them are just latched on to the castle. And so when we go into our character meet and greets that we did, you know, Bailey and even Caitlin was 20, about to turn 21. And, you know, they're captivated by the characters. And I'll just never forget that for as long as I live. It was spectacular. You know, I don't know why I don't have those pictures on here. I was going to try to pull one up, but
it's not been that spectacular.
Yeah, it is. I got a new phone, so everything's kind of jumbled up. But Bailey is looking at her favorite princess is Rapunzel, and Rapunzel's talking to her, and she's keyed in, buddy. It is game on, and there is nothing that's going to pry her eyes off of Rapunzel. And man, it just about chokes you up, you know, just sitting there watching her the whole time she's interacting with Rapunzel, talking to her, and man, it was great. That's the stuff that I love.
So I actually have a picture like that of Jameson while we were waiting to meet Cinderella. And like you, I'm not seeing it. So it must not have meant that much to me either. But that was, yeah. Of course, it was late at night and he's really tired, So that all kind of played into it. But it was still, the look on his face was absolutely priceless. And it's one of those that, you're never going to forget. And I feel like we get a lot of those moments at Disney, right? I mean, because everything is a lot more magical, and it is it's just so consuming, like, and it is easy to just completely I mean, your kids are having the best time of their life, and I think and I think I can speak for all three of us when I say this, that's probably one of the biggest things we love about Disney, right?
Right.
And I think Walt really nailed it. I mean, the whole point of creating Disneyland was to have a place where parents and kids could go together and both enjoy it, right? Instead of, because and a lot of people may not know that story, Garth. I'm sure you do. He's sitting, his Sunday, every Sunday he'd take his daughters to the playground and spend time with them, and he's sitting on the park bench there watching them play on the merry-go-round, and he's like, I need a place where I can have the same enjoyment they're having. And I think he nailed it on the head.
Yeah. And it's nice to see the way that they've done it, and they've never gone over the top with it. They've continued it on afterwards and continued to build. Oh, that's awesome.
There it is, Brian.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he is not that little anymore, man. I tell you what. But yeah, I mean, it's just those moments, even Phoenix had his first cotton candy at Disney World, at Disney Springs, right? And it hyped him up so much. I mean, but realistically, if he would have gotten cotton candy, at, the county fair, right, I probably wouldn't have remembered that. But,
right.
I mean, I could take you to the exact location. I mean, we got it from Goofy's Candy Company. We walked down. Sarah and Jameson went in, was looking at some flip-flops, right? And, yeah, dude started losing it. I mean, jumped out of his stroller, started pushing it around everywhere, like jumping up and down. It was nuts. People were looking like, oh, it's so cute. It's like, yeah, okay. Whatever.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of moments like that. Like when Disney on Ice comes to town, my son goes nuts. He gets to hang out with his cousin, who's quite a bit older than he is, and of course his cousin just goes to hang out with Trent. So, but he gets all jazzed up about that, and just to hear him say, "Oh, look, there's so and so and whatever," and then it's just the whole experience somehow in any of the Disney, anything Disney, they've somehow managed to hit it on the head to make sure everybody has the same, you know what I mean? Everybody gets the same amount of appreciation. And again, it all comes down to, it's all about the details. You know what I mean? You can go to Six Flags and be like, okay, they tempt, right? But then you go to Disneyland and it's, it's a whole nother game, it's not even a comparison,
And then, Disney World even has some stuff that, and I'm pretty sure Disneyland doesn't have these kind of things, simply because they don't have the type of land that World has. But I mean, you can go on guided fishing tours at Disney World. You can go horseback riding. You can go bike riding. You just go walking trails. there's so much to do that isn't Disney per se, right?
Right.
But Disney still puts their flair on it. I mean, you go, you can go fishing and you're looking at Spaceship Earth, or
Right.
you're looking at the castle, right? I mean, I got to do that. Brian, you hadn't had a chance to go on a fishing trip down there either, have you?
No, but I've seen the people going out, and I'm always jealous when I do.
Yeah.
But then I quickly forget about it as soon as you walk through the gate at like Animal Kingdom or something like that. But I do want to.
Well, and I've seen that. Seen quite a few videos about the RV site there.
Yes.
I mean, it's its own thing. You don't even have to go to Disneyland or Disney World.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
its
and
own thing. Rent canoes, rent bikes. You go fishing.
Exactly.
It's all accessible right there.
And over there at the over there at the campgrounds, holiday season, like it completely takes a different persona, because all the campers and everybody out there camping and all, they bring their own decorations, right? And you'll see some of the pictures and videos, and you're like, I mean, did these people bring the garage?
Right.
Because they've got so much. And,
dude, I'd love to just ride through at Halloween just to see the Halloween decorations. Man.
So, to make this comment make sense, Josh says RV party on, Garth.
Yeah,
and at the end of the thing that he was going to do is he said party on, Garth, and so that's why he threw in the RV there. Oh man, I'm going to play that for y'all off the air, and then we're definitely going to have to get that set up for the next one. But let's move away from. Well, I gotta say this first. One big thing about Disney World that I think kind of sets it apart from Disneyland is the fact that you don't have to go to the parks. You can go down there and you can take an entire vacation at Disney World without spending a single day in the park.
Right.
There's so much to do.
Each resort it's its own thing. You know what I mean? So when I booked for our honeymoon, of course, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Right.
So, I'm like, I call up and I'm like, well, I'd like to book a hotel. I'd like to stay at the Disney hotel. And the lady's like, okay, which one? I'm like, the Disney hotel. And she's like, sir, there's 35 hotels. I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
what?
Okay. So I was like, well, I'm a complete idiot. So go ahead and give me the rundown. She's like, okay. So she kindly sent me an email of everything. Of course, that's after I called Costco, and I was like, I hung up on Costco because they drive me nuts. But but there's only so many times you can be told to look it up online. It's on their website. Oh, great, because I called you to spend a bunch of money, but you don't want it, so whatever. So
look, you went that route, so let's go ahead and talk about that for a second.
Okay.
A lot of people will go through like Costco and all, thinking it's a travel business, right? That they'll book, I can book my resort and my tickets and everything. Let me ask you guys, what does Costco do for you other than that?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Save you a couple bucks maybe, but you're not going to get any knowledge. Every time I called Costco to book something, the person on the other line says, "Oh man, I'd like to check that out sometime." And it's like simple stuff, like an airplane. Like it's just, what I mean? It's like I'd like to rent a car one day. Okay. I mean, not to shoot them down, but obviously you're just a number on a grease board, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, and that's why, honestly, Disney being what Disney is, and Costco is why I became a travel professional, because I called them up for the cruise and for Disney World, and both times I hung up the phone on them because it was just, I got so exhausted. I was like, I give you 3 times, and if the third time, I ask you a question and it's, check it out online. Okay, well, I don't have any reason to talk to you anymore. I'm just going to call Disney and get the answers to my questions. You know what I mean? So
exactly. And Elle says here, she said everyone always recommends doing Costco. They say people say get a Disney credit card and buy your trip that way for the perks. Thoughts?
So what I would do is get a Sam's Club membership.
Yes.
You can use your Disney credit card to purchase your
Disney gift cards.
Right. And then apply those to your vacation. You're not going to get the full. Now, remember, you're buying gift cards. You're not buying like necessarily Disney product because you're buying it from Sam's Club, right?
Mhm.
But you're going to get the general 1% or whatever it is that you're going to get back. At least you're still getting somewhere with it.
Right.
Right. And so with what we do is because we have a Sam's Club membership, right? But we found that we actually saved more money at Target because with a Target Red Card, you get 5% off of all the gift cards.
Gotcha.
Right. And whereas at Sam's Club, you can get like, $5 $50 cards or whatever for, and you end up saving like what, $5,
Right.
So it did seem to work out better to do it the Target way.
Okay.
And she had asked about the Disney credit card. You do get some perks with a Disney credit card at the parks. You can save some money for sure by doing a Disney credit card. If you're not wanting to do a credit card though, because a lot of people don't, right?
Right.
You can just stock up on Disney gift cards, and you're still going to save about the same money.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you might find yourself in a better situation if you went with like a venture card from Capital One or something like that, where it's 3% on all purchases. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You can't just say, you got to look at what your options are. You know what I mean, and see who's going to give you the best deal. And if you can stretch it out for 12 to 18 months before you have to make your payment on it, then you're not paying any interest on it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do ours. We do Southwest.
Gotcha.
So we use our Southwest for the miles. So.
Gotcha.
But I want to go back to this one. Where she said everyone's always recommending doing Costco. It's like Garth said. Well, you can go look at their website. That's not what I want to do. That's why I'm trying to go through a travel company because it's I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Most of the time I've probably looked at their website.
Well, and not only that, but I'm looking to spend. I know everybody's different, but I'm looking to spend at least $3,200. So at least customer service,
easy,
I think would be expected. You know what I mean?
If you look at what happened this year, with the pandemic, with the virus going around,
right,
and the fiasco that people went through trying to cancel their trips through Costco,
right,
where you could I think there were 5 or 6 trips that I had to cancel this year, including ours. And, just all they had to do is call me and I took care of it.
Right.
And, it's just so much easier. There were a lot of people that were struggling just to get their trip canceled,
right. Well, and that's what I tell everybody. I say, you know what, you can call Costco and they can give you the runaround, or I'm right in your pocket.
Exactly.
Just give me a call. I'll get you handled.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And another thing is, once things get back to normal, whenever that might be, but even still with ADRs, advanced dining reservations, Costco's not going to do that for you at Walt Disney World,
No.
But Garth, Brian, myself, any of the Magic and Mickey travel agents, we're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
We're going to walk you through. You think Costco knows anything about doing park reservations right now?
Right.
I mean, let's get real. They don't have a clue what's going on down there. You could ask them, hey, how do I do park reservations? What is that? I mean, that's going to be what you get, right? They're not going to know about the availability calendar. They're not going to know the best days to go to which parks, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like, we just avoid weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. We do Sundays typically at Animal Kingdom. That's usually a pretty good day to do Animal Kingdom because a lot of the AP people, all the local people, are at Magic Kingdom or Epcot,
Right.
So we'll hit up, or Hollywood Studios now for sure. So we hit up Animal Kingdom. It's usually a slow day for it. But, otherwise Saturday, we're not going to a park.
Well, the cool thing about it is like, if people have like hard questions, and like none of us three know it, we have a plethora of agents who do know the answer.
Yes.
I mean, we've got so many agents that, and this may be true for any travel agency, but ours in particular, there's so much knowledge, Disney knowledge, that works for Magic and Mickey Travel. It's crazy.
Yeah. And another thing is too, when you want someone that's as invested in your vacation as you are, you know what I mean? That's the main thing right there,
Yep.
There's a stake in it for me, and so, you know what I mean? That it's to make sure that you're off without a hitch, right? So
yeah, and it's not like anybody could go on, Walt Disney World, go to the webpage, and their vacation is going to cost no different than it would if we booked it.
Right.
So it's not like we're charging you anything more.
Right.
So, that's a misconception that I get a lot of times. Like, why would I go through you when I could just go straight to the website? Well, if you have any hiccups or anything like that, I'm there for you. Right. I can make the phone calls while you're enjoying yourself and get you through whatever hiccups that you have.
Right.
There's a lot of different scenarios that we will take care of where you don't have to while you're enjoying your time on your vacation. So
exactly.
A lot of people don't understand that. So
yeah, and and I know there are some agents that are charging a little bit of a fee now, because the pandemic, the travel industry took a huge hit, obviously. A lot of places did commission protection, but there's a whole crazy thing going on with that. So there's a lot of people who, there are set agents who do this for a living. This is their job. This is their livelihood. So some agents they have had to make the difficult choice to start adding a little bit of a fee. It's nothing crazy, but I can promise you it's still, they could definitely charge a lot more, because the knowledge, especially all of the training, all of the communication that we have within Magic of Mickey.
Yeah.
All of the agents you can't put a value on that, on their knowledge.
Right.
And a lot of us, like the three of us, we have full-time jobs, This is a little side hustle, right? That basically we're not even trying to make we're not trying to make that much money off of it.
Right. We just love doing it.
We just love doing it, and we want to help others have that. Because our first trip was awful, horrible, miserable. You know why? Because we didn't go through a travel agent, and we didn't know what the crap we were doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was extremely stressful. That's why we got into the travel business.
Right.
We want to help others. Like, man, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's it. I tell that to everybody about, you don't want to get yourself Clarked, right? You don't want to get yourself in a Clark Griswold situation where, you're stressed out to the max. You go in and, every 5 parent that you pass looks like they're about to rip their hair out of their head. They're, kids clutched under their leg. They're dragging them around. You know what I mean? It's just like, you feel bad for them because you're like, can I help you? I've been here. Like,
yeah.
I know what you're going through, So, and that's why I got into it. You know what I mean? So, I think that and I know by the you two guys, we're all in it for the same reason, and that's just to help people not have a stressful situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because the last thing you want to have to deal with is some kind of hiccup where they're not charging the right credit card or something like that. Stuff we take care of. We take care of that for you.
Right.
My brother, he went on a trip and he called me. He's like, "Hey man, they're charging my check card, not my credit card." I said, "I'll call you right back." and I got it taken care of for him. So,
yeah,
stuff like that. It's just, it makes sense to go through a travel professional. I mean, it really does.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. I mean, that get on the travel agency thing. It's we stayed away from them for years just for that. So, because we thought that they were going to charge us more.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and you just all you gotta do is go to magicmickey.com, fill out that quote request. Obviously none of us are going to charge you extra. But I really don't know if any Magic Mickey agents are.
I haven't seen any. Yeah,
I haven't seen any announce that either. But I can promise you that you're not going to find anybody that is more concerned with your trip.
Right.
Because if we like Brian said, if there's something that pops up that we don't know the answer to, that we've got like 3 or 4 different private Facebook groups within the agency to ask different questions and everything. This guy, look at this guy. So we have the resources. Get away. And all right, let's move away from that. I get on a tangent anytime somebody brings up Costco. It's like
sorry, kind of down a rabbit hole.
Dude,
I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good, dude. If there's anybody who knows about rabbit trails, yeah, it's us. Doggone, come on. But I am being bombarded here. This is not good. L says another man has entered the chat. I don't know about that, but anyways, Disney Plus. Let's talk about that for a minute. Y'all, I know Brian has it. Garth, I would have to assume you have it.
Yeah, of course.
I love you too, buddy. Y'all go play with the puppy. I'll be out in just a few minutes. So we have y'all seen Mandalorian? The first episode of season 2?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. If you have not seen it yet, if you're listening, give us about 5 minutes. Maybe not even that long. What do y'all think? Maybe 2, 3?
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Because there's just one thing I want to talk about. The last 2 seconds of the show. What y'all think about that?
That's Boba Fett, without a doubt.
I know. But what are we about to do? I mean, what is about to happen with this? That's I hate when they do these cliffhangers.
So, I have a spoiler alert. I went to my spidey senses were going off.
Okay.
I went through Costco the other day, and they had a plush.
Here you go with Costco again.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean I'm talking for goods, right? Not for vacation.
Gotcha. Okay, let's do it.
So me and my son are going through there, and he's like, "Dad, look, Mandalorian." And there was a Mandalorian pillow set, and in that set was a Chewbacca.
What?
Boom. There you go.
You're kidding me.
I'm just going to sprinkle that one down. And, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's coming. I don't know.
Well, see, what I don't understand about that is if we're going to go down this rabbit trail.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be post Death Star blowing up everything, right? So, how could it be Boba Fett?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I mean,
Boba Fett dies in Return of the Jedi.
But does he?
Or wait a minute, is it Return of the Jedi or Empire?
Does
I
he?
don't know. I can't remember.
So
I mean, he gets launched into the pit with the thing. I can't remember what it's called. Come on, nerds. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
But Okay, so and I'm looking here just because I wanted to double check. So the Mandalorian comes in right after Return of the Jedi and before the Force Awakens. Um, I wanted to check my timeline there. So is he dead though? I mean, really? Because there's been times where we thought somebody was dead and they wasn't, right? Um, I mean, Chewbacca was for sure dead there in Rise of Skywalker, right? When in Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
where I got a little teary eyed, like, oh no, he's gone, you know. But I don't, dude. That the pillow set though. Let's talk about that for a second.
That's what I'm saying.
So, and I mean, so we know it's a Wookiee at least, right? It might not have been Chewbacca. There's a Wookiee,
Right.
but why else would they make a pillow set with a Wookiee that's not Chewie?
I mean, unless you're saying Disney was just out to sell more Chewbacca pillows. I mean, but
yes. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh.
The Sarlacc. So,
yes. There you go.
But it was here's what confuses me about that though, because they didn't have any Baby Yoda, the child, merch when people wanted it, because they said they didn't want the spoilers, right? Because I mean, there's people who get all of the patents that Disney puts in for, you know, they get we get their building permits and everything. So they said that they didn't want there to be a spoiler. Why would they throw Chewbacca out there?
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know.
Chewie's just always around, though. You know, he's just everywhere.
But to be in a Mandalorian themed set,
so I wouldn't even have questioned it if it didn't say Mandalorian on the box,
right?
And there's a Wookiee on the pillow,
right?
So, right.
So, just saying.
There we go, boys.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so that was Return of the Jedi, just by the way. So
it was Return of the Jedi.
It was.
So he might not be dead. I mean, he can't be dead. I mean, because that was him.
That was his armor, at least.
He got eaten by the Sarlacc.
Well, Mandalorian got eaten by the dragon, technically, right?
Yeah, but he blew him up. Well, that's true. That's true. I guess you're right.
I don't know, man.
We're about to find out, aren't we?
That's it. I just wish they would have released them all at one time, so I don't have.
I know, right? You just binge them all. Yep.
Yeah.
So actually, Boba Fett. So I just Googled it, right? And what I came up with was in Return of the Jedi, he apparently meets his demise after falling into the Sarlacc pit. Bubba was later retroactively added in the special edition of A New Hope, released in 1997, making a non-speaking cameo appearance.
Okay.
So,
A New Hope.
And oh, dude, I mean, look, I'm not even going to go through all these because there's so many articles that say, and this one was done May 13th, right? So before we even knew anything about Mandalorian, you know, this episode and all, it says, wait, how did we miss Boba Fett? How did we miss that announcement? Because it does say May 13th with Boba Fett is returning in the Mandalorian season 2.
Well, maybe they just meant by the armor of the Marshal. You know what I mean?
Maybe so.
You know,
because that was honestly, so when I first saw the Marshal, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, you know. And then he took the helmet off and was like, oh, okay. Josh said there's a Wookiee on my pillow. Sarah says that every day. So yeah. But yeah, I was kind of blown away when I first saw the Boba Fett armor, right? Like, wait a minute, this isn't right. But I gotta say, the way they did the child, he's so much more animated now.
Yeah.
Has more personality, it seems. Because I about died uh, when the Mandalorian and the Marshal were about to fight, right? And the child, kind of perks up in his little floating carriage thing and leans over and pushes the button to make it close. And I was like, "Oh, that's just great." But I feel like they've done a lot more with it. They're going to do a lot more with the child now.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if they didn't think it would take off like it did.
I don't know what they were thinking then, because just everything is unreal about it. You know what I mean? Like it's, obviously it's a Star Wars thing, so you got to kind of have like you don't want to elevate your expectations too much. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want it to be ruined, but I mean they killed it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans were really, since Disney's taken over, they've been really disappointed with the Star Wars movies that they put out and everything. But none of them. I don't think I've heard a single negative thing about Mandalorian.
Right.
So of course, I've never really understood why they didn't like the movies that Disney did.
Exactly.
I thought they were incredible, especially Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah. Where it's still just a light bulb. You know what I mean? It's real.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't really outdone themselves. They put a lot of restraint, I think, in their creativity about the way they've made it. Where it's not a bunch of holograms and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That, if they were going to make a future show, it'd be, way far out there. And I think they've done an excellent job keeping themselves even keen with everything.
Yeah, and I think Josh is 100% spot on, Brian. I know you agreed with it already. The child can cure the world's depressive state.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, especially if you're looking in the entertainment business, right? What is there better than the child right now? When has one character had such an impact on so many people around the world?
Right.
I feel like Disney really, really nailed this one.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see.
I think Jon Favreau is doing a fabulous job.
Fabulous job.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a great job with all the Avenger movies that he's been a part of. For those of you who may not recognize the name, he played Happy in the Iron Man movies and all, right? So, yeah, he's done an incredible job. He's put together awesome director staff, right? What has he got? Like 7 or 8 different directors.
Yeah.
And they all have a hand in each show. Yep. I can't remember what it's called. It's a show on Disney Plus. It's basically behind the scenes of The Mandalorian. Have y'all watched that?
I have.
I haven't.
Oh man, you gotta check that out, Garth. All of the work, all of the, but just all the different pieces they bring together. Because you got people who've, done nothing but animation, right? And he's a director of this that has a huge part. So it's really worth the watch. You learn a lot. And Josh says here with no dialogue, talking about the child. I mean, that's true. Mm-hmm. The kid's legit never even said a word.
Right. And I guess that's one good thing that's come out of the pandemic, right? Is this the fact that everybody's home and they can binge watch all of the Star Wars. You know what I mean? They're all on one set. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty awesome to see that it just came in at the right time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so moving away from Star Wars, that way we don't make anybody else mad. What about have y'all seen, because we've talked about it on a couple episodes, that the Magic Behind the Animal Kingdom. Have y'all watched that?
I started watching it. I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, it's
Brian, you still hadn't jumped on that ship, dude.
I haven't, not yet. No,
it's so good. What are your thoughts on it so far, Josh? Or Garth? Sorry, I looked down at the comment section.
it like, man, just everything that they do is just unbelievable. You know what I mean? There's no, it's almost like the professor on Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? Spare no expense. You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy to see the detail, and obviously, taking care of everything, make sure everything's happy. And when you go to Animal Kingdom, and there's a lion out there. I mean, obviously there's a moat around you, but there's no fence.
Well, and you don't even see the moat from the truck, right? I mean, they were talking about how there's all these moats around all of the animals, right? And I've never seen one, except for where the hippos are and the crocodiles. I mean, obviously, right? But the rest of them, it's like no. But I mean, they've even trained these Nile crocs to follow a sign, so that they can get them into this certain area where they can actually check them, treat them for anything. It's insane. They've got a giraffe. They've trained giraffes to, pick their hooves up and put it on a stand so they can trim their, any kind of growth on their hoof or anything like that. The newest one is about one of the tigers, right? And they're training the tiger to open its mouth on command so they can check inside their mouth, check their teeth and everything. It's like it's just nuts. All the work that goes into it. I mean, all of the animals basically have a handler per se inside of them almost all day, 24/7, right? It's crazy how much work and care they've put into these animals, and it's not surprising, but it's still it's nuts to see and actually hear about it on this show.
Well, and it's cool that they actually give those people the spotlight, because you know what I mean, that stuff that's in the background that you don't even pay attention to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's another thing when you go to a Disney park, when you see all the employees that they have, you're like, how does this place even make any money? You're like, okay, my ticket cost me $120 or whatever, but there's two people to every one guest. You know what I mean? That is either behind the scenes or is right there in front of you. You know what I mean? So it's unreal.
And, you go on the safari and you'll see these green trucks out there, right? The pickup trucks and everything, which I do find funny that they try to blur out the Chevy symbol, but it's like obviously that's a Chevy. But it's you see them out there and you're like, why? What are they doing? But you get to find out what they're doing in these shows, and even I think it was in the first episode where Joe Rohde was actually on there, and they were working on putting these lights up so that you could see better at night and everything, right? Mm-hmm. And the lights were in a tree, and the tree was, it was a fake tree that they built, but it looked 100% real. They said it feels real for the animals, but they had to have the leaves up high enough so that the giraffes didn't actually get to them. But I think it wouldn't bother the giraffes or any animal if they actually did eat the leaves. So it's just all that detail they put in.
Right. Well, you walk down Radiator Springs at California Adventure, and it's like you're in cars. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and I can't wait for Garth, for you to experience Galaxy's Edge, and
oh man,
because you talk about immersive, man. But what else? There's something. Have y'all watched the Imagineering stories? Any of those?
I have. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, you talk about self-respecting men in Disney. You go to Disney Plus and you find a lot of self-respecting men who love Disney, and obviously they make money there, right? But but still their passion and everything. And
yeah, I was about to say that we get to benefit from their passion,
Right. Exactly. But being able to watch these shows and learn so much, see kind of more behind the scenes. Elle says she still hadn't seen that series. I don't know what these people are waiting on. Come on now. Come on. I mean, obviously, we could sit here and talk Disney Plus all day. I mean, there's so much on there. But I mean, we could obviously. Me and Brian literally have been on the phone nearly all day talking Disney. I mean, it's not hard to do at all.
We have done that before, multiple times.
Yeah, it's but we're not trying to go, completely Joe Rogan here, and right? Because I had a panic while ago. I looked up for some reason the clock on my computer, like it never changed, right? And then even the one on our streaming platform here, it says that we've been going for 2 hours and 46 minutes. So I looked up at it earlier and it said almost 2 hours. I was like, well, we've been going 2 hours. How is that possible? But yeah, now we really have been going almost 2 hours. So I guess we will go ahead and start wrapping this up. Garth, is there anything else you want to add, man?
I don't think so, man. But, anytime you want me to come back on here and, talk about comments from a certain someone that was very rudely given to you. If you need to talk to someone, sometimes, mental abuse is just as hard as physical abuse. So if you need a number to call, I'll get a hold of somebody. No man should take that from the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this is what's really bad is I actually had forgotten about the whole mother-in-law thing when you started saying that. I thought you was going to go for this one right here. So talking about mental abuse and comments and everything. I mean, LD has got it down. So my mom says something, since this is about self-respecting men, y'all don't pick on women about talking because you guys are at almost 2 hours. I know. We can definitely, we can talk all day about it.
That's it, man.
Talk days and days about it. That's why there's over, I think there's over 600 Disney podcasts out there right now. So, there's plenty to talk about.
Right.
So, and here we go again. Here comes Elle. She's been triggered again. So, but yeah, and Brian just, where did Brian go?
He just left.
We're about to close it out. I'm about to, see if he has any, I'm not reading this out loud. I'll let everybody read that for themselves. But, Brian, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I don't. Distractions.
Yes,
man.
yeah. And Josh, I don't know if you saw, but the bear actually came in here a few minutes ago and was snapping at me, and so that's why we got to go ahead and start wrapping this thing up. So, anyways, as always, guys, thank y'all so much for listening to the show, hanging out with us live or on the podcast platform, whichever you're doing, or watching the replay. If you don't mind, make sure to go over to our Facebook and Instagram. And you can find us at Mouse Ears Magic Pod. What is so funny, Brian?
You'll see it right there. It just popped up.
So Josh has been on a roll tonight.
Man, he's laying it out.
Brian, so I have to do this to Sarah. I've never had to do it to Brian, so I'm going to mute Brian so I can get through my closing stuff. Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Mouse Ears and Magic Pod with an underscore in between each word. You can also find Brian on Facebook at Brian and Jeannie at Magic and Mickey Travel, and on Instagram at Brian and Jeannie MOMT. And Garth, you are on Facebook at Garth Lobry, LOBRY, Magic and Mickey Travel, right?
Yep.
And then you're also on Instagram. Is it just Garth Lobry? I can't remember.
Yep.
Yep. And I've got your Facebook. You can email Garth at garth@magicandmickey.com. Got that and your Facebook linked in the show notes. So if y'all want to go check it out, go follow him on the social, see what's going out in Arizona and where they do not have time change.
That's right.
Anyways, if you don't mind, I just noticed that Brian unmuted himself. A little turd. But yeah, if you don't mind, please make sure to rate and review the podcast. Hop over to our YouTube, subscribe there, share it out with your friends. We're constantly growing. Our downloads are still, just going up and up and up. We went from back in July, we were averaging maybe about 90 downloads an episode to now we're averaging a little over 500 an episode.
Nice.
So, we're finally starting to get out there. Word's getting out. So, guys, just please keep on sharing with your friends and family. Help us spread the magic. And anytime you've got any questions, send them in, and we will answer them right here on the show. You can email us, mouseseeriesmagicpod@gmail.com, or on Facebook or Instagram, or join us live on Facebook or YouTube and put them in the chat.
There you
go. All right. Well, gentlemen, y'all got anything else?
I don't think so, guys.
All righty. So I'm excited to see where this series continues to go. We have completed episode number 1 of Self-Respecting Men Who Love Disney. For Garth, Brian, I'm James. We'll be talking to you real soon. And we're out. Well, we're still live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad that our live streaming platform records the audio, because I definitely didn't record anything.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't have my Rodecaster back yet, right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting you don't have the big red button.
Yeah, I don't have the big red button. So what I've been doing is I've been using Audacity, which is the editing software that I have. Josh says to play the sound bit real quick. I'm just going to have to do it from my phone into the mic. Well, no, I won't. Hold on. Let me save the video. And if I randomly pop up in the stream from my phone, just ignore that, people, because that could happen.
Right.
Let's enter the studio. It's about to pop up. Bet you.
Disgusting on your girl cover.
What was it?
I don't know. It looks like a fuzzy caterpillar, though. Like, has some thing around it.
That's weird.
See. Okay. Had to get rid of that, and it's not going to let me just upload it in there. All right, so let's do it this way.
Lifestyle of men who love Disney. In times of panic and strife, we always have to look for a silver lining within ourselves. For us, that's Disney. But the question has been raised. What self-respecting man loves Disney? Well, Tina, this one's for you. And to all of those men and women alike, we wish you charcuterie boards and fast passes. Now, on to Mouse Ears and Magic with your host, James, co-host, Brian, and special guest, Garth.
Party on Garth.
Party on Garth. Me. So good. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get that. I'm going to have to get a good clear clip of that. And my favorite part, though, is where he's like, Tina, this one's for you. That's my mother-in-law's name. So good. All right.
Funny.
All righty. Well, for those of you who have been watching live, thank you so much. And, we'll be seeing y'all. I hear you. Isn't that some great English? We will see y'all next week. What are we having next week? Patreon Spotlight?
I think it is. Yeah.
Think it is. Yep. Yeah. All righty. We'll see y'all next week.